Good evening. I'm the Maven of the Eventide. Welcome back to Vampire Playthroughs. We are playing Vampire the Masquerade Shadows of New York. If you missed our first episode of this new game, please watch that first. This is episode number 2. The giggler alongside me tonight is...
Oh, hi.
Why was that so funny to you, Paul?
I don't know. It just seemed very self-explanatory. It's like, hey, if you missed the first one, go watch the first one.
What if they don't know this is not the first one?
Well, besides the title saying part 2.
People don't read titles, Paul.
Oh, okay. My bad. Give them far too much credit.
You expect people to read things. That's why we're playing this game, because we read it to you. We're here for you. Anyway, last we left off, we had just met a vampire. And this vampire gave us a choice. Shoot her or don't shoot her. And we shot her. And she said, congratulations, you passed a test. You're a vampire now. And then she made us a vampire. And I asked you all what would have happened if we hadn't shot her.
Hmm?
And we would have died. She would have killed us.
Oh.
Yeah, we would have had to start the game over again.
Well, I'm glad we shot her.
Yeah. And the clan she is Lasombra.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Me neither. That is not a clan that was introduced to us in any of the games we have played hitherto now. So we're about to discover a new clan in our Vampire the Masquerade edumacation.
I mean, is this part of, like, the game at large, or is this just something they made up?
Not for this game. I mean, the whole game is made up. You know vampires aren't real, right?
Let me rephrase. Is this something that White Wolf... Is this, like, a canonical clan?
Yes, it is canon.
Okay.
It is not one of the original clans, which is what Bloodlines was mostly based on. It is something that was made in later developments.
Oh.
It's an additional clan.
Okay. I just assumed there was, like, 6 or 7 clans and that was the universe.
No,
That's
there's
it.
13 clans.
Yikes.
And then there's more on top of that. And then there's the clans that are like Mirrorverse clans, which they call Antibro.
On what?
Antibro.
Antibro.
Yeah.
What's that? Is that short for something?
I think it's German.
Okay.
Anyway, we don't know this as our character yet, so I'm not going to give you any more spoilers in that case, but apparently part of the Lasombra code of vampireness is doing things like shooting someone who's attacking you. So if we hadn't shot her, she would have been like, you're not cut out to be vampire material, and she wouldn't have chosen us.
Well, not only would she not have chosen us, but she would have killed us.
Yes, indeed. But that was part of the test to see if we were the type of vampire that would fit with her clan. Other clans wouldn't have had that attitude. It's a particular attitude to the Lasombra clan, which this vampire is.
I don't know. All these vampire clans seem very 2D to me from what I've understood and what I've played and experienced.
I'm sure there are other clans where if we hadn't had shot them, they'd be like, yes, you are Machiavellian and planning 60 chess ahead of time, and
No,
therefore
it's
you're...
Malkavian. Not Malkavian.
Har.
Har.
Anyway.
Now, this sort of begs the question, if it's that easy to die, like, here, like, did we just do ridiculously well in the last game because we didn't die, or is it just really hard to die? Or are they just like, oh no, there's one death, but it happens like right at the beginning?
Well, there were times in the last game where it's like, when we first met Kadir and he brings us to Elysium, it was like, you could try to escape. If we had done that, he would have killed
but
us.
those are all really stupid decisions.
Right, you know, but there are things that could have made you die earlier in the game the same way as this choice could have.
Oh, okay.
But we wouldn't have had to do that much over again to replay the game.
Yeah, that's why I think it's just sort of like a shock game over. And it's like, oh, yeah, that kind of game.
I mean, everything that came before was basically Julia's mortal life story of how horrible her job is and how awful her work is. And like, you know, the system, man.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like such a pretentious journalist. So pretentious.
And being a vampire has made that worse, judging from the cover there.
Yeah. I mean, you know. Oh, by the way, we got a few very effusive comments to the voice acting in the last episode, so good job.
Oh. Well, thank you. I wish I remember what any of the voices I did were.
And we left off as we were a newly minted vampire who just had the best sexual experience of her life through being made into a vampire. And, you know, there we are. Julia, night 2. Once again, I find myself in Big Beat Burger.
These exotic locations just really, really getting you into the universe of the burger joint she, for some reason, sticks to. Okay.
Familiar surroundings, faces I recognize. Mood, same as it ever was.
Oppressive.
Still, I process it an entirely different way. It all frustrates me now. Or more precisely, it makes me frustrated with myself. It's like I'm clinging to the remnants of a cocoon I've outgrown. Ugh. It's the same with these cigarettes. I don't need them anymore. So why do I keep holding on to them? Fucking hell. It's like I refuse to accept that I'm something better than I used to be. A vampire. Just 2 nights ago, I met Karen. She embraced me, by which I mean she turned me into a kindred. She calls herself my sire and me her child. I don't think we need to
I
read
think
the
we're fine.
definitions of those. Last night, she taught me the basics of survival. Drinking blood, manipulating humans, bending steel, controlling shadows.
That would have been interesting to see. Game.
Controlling shadows is a trait specific to this vampire clan, which is why it's called Shadows of New York. She's a shadow clan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's not a vampire trait that we've seen before in our previous games because we haven't encountered this clan before.
Sounds cool. That's a clan I can get behind.
Tonight, I expect more lessons. Instead, she just told me to go out and enjoy myself.
So you went to the burger joint.
Okay, me. That was a choice.
I thought your life was supposed to improve after you became a vampire.
It's not as sexy as I let you think it is.
Now I just like my burgers more rare.
What's the catch? I asked. To which she responded,
I might kill you if you prove to be a disappointment.
there are a few rules. I have to uphold the masquerade. I can't contact anyone I knew as a human. I can't let anyone realize I'm not human anymore. I can't embrace anyone, and so on. Otherwise, I'm free to do whatever I want. But for some reason, the first thing I did was come back here. Old habits die hard.
I mean, if I were suddenly blessed with immortality, I mean, gosh, the places I would go.
Karen is probably watching me from somewhere even now. The way I understood it, tomorrow night she's supposed to introduce me to the Camarilla, a local society of vampires.
You just scroll up, it looks like it said Society.
Turns out they're the ones who have been systematically ruining my life lately. All a part of some secret evaluation that I barely passed. Just imagining the reach they have makes me dizzy. After they destroyed the old me that I barely cared about, Karen rebuilt me anew. On one hand, her test left some scars that will take time to heal. On the other hand, maybe I should just be grateful? I am snapped out of my thoughts by a sudden scream.
Eek.
Some douchebag yelling about his french fries not being salty enough. Oh, redo the scream.
Wait, I don't know if it's like that guy or
Yeah, the
person.
douchebag yelling about his french fries not being salty enough.
Nay.
There you go. I think this is my cue to leave. Permanently.
Oh, you should just like teach the guy a lesson.
Goodbye, BBB. Hope I never see you again.
Better Business Bureau?
No, the big bug of
Big bag of burgers.
I'm destined for greater things, you see.
See you later. Goodbye, Schnegectity.
Okay. So the only reason I even remotely know what to do here is because I played the last game. There's like nothing
I don't know who these
intuitive about
people
this at
are.
all. Yeah, like what is this? Tinder addict? What? Did she tell me to like go out and meet people? Time to swing like
Okay. So she's like, she can either like go on a Tinder date, go to the club, or go out and get some revenge on people.
I come across a bully, I guess. Like, it would have been nice if these were set up in some way.
No, I kind of
I could have been like, you
understand.
go out into the street and you see 3 things going on at once, and now you must choose which way to go.
If
You
she
know,
can
just
see
like some little like segue would have been nice.
No, she said she can go out and do whatever she wants. So I see Tinder date, go out clubbing, Or maybe she's like walking the streets in Brooklyn for some reason and sees like a mugging.
I'm gonna go clubbing.
Do it. Just because it says Danse Macabre.
Yes, yes, that's exactly why. You know I love me a Danse Macabre.
I like how the little crown on the left is like pretty much exactly Charlotte's logo.
It is. So we live in the city of Charlotte,
Queen
North Carolina.
City.
By we, I mean Paul and I. And
From Queens to Queen City.
that's the logo of Charlotte. So Danse Macabre. Time to swing a little more on the devil's dance floor. The club beckons. I feel like she'd go to a club.
Fighting in the club.
This club reeks of death, and I love it.
Oh, that's the same little arm-waving loop from the last game, because I always recognize this guy over here. He's like, yeah, yeah. That's all I can want. Sorry, go ahead. Is that now you can't unsee it. You just watch one person. It's the most ridiculous. It's like, this is not how people act in a club.
I've been here quite a few times, but I've never seen anything this breathtaking. Everyone around me is whacked out of their minds, and as they keep dancing madly, the spirits dance beside them. So I'm seeing spirits?
Well, I think just like the spirit of dance, the muses.
I don't know. I don't know anything about this vampire clan. Maybe I can see spirits. Spectral silhouettes. See?
Oh.
Phase in and out of existence, becoming more visible the more intense the music grows. It looks like a bizarre ritual, a profane mass.
Is that like a Sombra thing? Like they have some sort of weird synesthesia?
Yeah, they see ghosts, I guess.
Cool.
I notice it's the voice samples the ghosts react to the strongest. The most suggestive ones cause them to appear distorted, even tormented.
Somebody scream.
You're the ghost.
Okay, well, done.
Come on, make a ghostly noise. Perfect. It's as if something was struggling to be born out of the harsh sounds, and the dead were hoping to be reborn alongside it. They're all uneasy, quivering with desire for something far beyond their reach, probably the same as when they were alive. I'm so jaded and cynical. Have you noticed?
You've been a vampire for a day. Give me a break.
Oh, remember what I was like as a mortal?
Yeah, you're just as
reporter?
insufferable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes the living dancers spot their dead counterparts. It's usually the most manic ones who notice something out of the corner of their eye for only a split second, but never realize what they've glimpsed. Some apparitions dance to a completely different tune than the rest of us, one only they can hear. Those seem the saddest.
All right, I'm confused. Like, is this just something she is seeing, but now
Yes.
she's making it sound like the dancers are aware of
The
these?
ones that are really, really high can see the ghosts, is what she's saying.
Okay.
So it's like an altered state of mind, altered state of reality. Drugs can help you approach ghost vision.
But if they're seeing, like, drug ghosts, how can she also see the drug ghosts?
The vampire power.
That seems like a very specific vampire, and a very useless vampire
No, I think
power.
the ghosts are real. The ghosts are really there.
Okay.
And if you're on enough drugs, you develop ghost vision.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Nancy Reagan was wrong. That sounds amazing.
Let's all go get high right now. The spectacle is eerie. At times, it's unbearably melancholic. Above all, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I keep on moving to the rhythm until I reach a trance-like state. And then, something even stranger happens.
Last call.
Every now and then, when I brush against someone, a fragmentary vision appears before my eyes. A car burning on a freeway, an outstretched hand in the depths of the sea, a man jumping out of a skyscraper window. Am I seeing their, future deaths? Or am I seeing deaths that they've witnessed?
I don't know. I don't know anything about Lasombra.
Yeah, me neither. So I'm either seeing the way that each of these people die when I brush against them, or I'm seeing something they've witnessed and I'm seeing their memories of death. But I like that Lasombra is death-focused. We see ghosts, we see deaths.
Oh,
You
have
know?
you found your new home clan?
I mean,
are you
you
venturing
know
away from Toreador?
How into death I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, do they allow you to move between clans? Is this like a lateral move? Or?
I haven't actually been embraced yet
Oh.
as a me.
Well, I mean, it's like you don't really get to choose what you get embraced into. You're just like, hey, guess what? Chomp.
True.
Guess what? You're a Bruja now. No! How mad would you be?
I'd be so freaking mad.
I waited all my life for this.
Memories of the past? Preventable visions of the future? I have no idea what it means, but I'm strangely eager to find out. Who's she? That's the noise she makes. I like her hair. She's very cute. And then there are dancers like her. Ones that aren't ghosts, humans, or even vampires, but something else altogether.
Oh.
This new world is full of mysteries, and I plan to get to the bottom of them all.
Well, you got eternity. Go for it.
I am an investigative journalist. But for now, I just want to dance. Okay.
Oh, all right. Well, cool.
I'm sure we'll come back to that.
Well, maybe it's just sort of setting things up. Like, this is your first night out as a vampire.
Okay,
so.
Storytelling time. Do we walk further into Brooklyn and come across a mugging that we want to rescue someone from? Or do we go back into Manhattan and go...
I think after...
on a Tinder date.
After the kind of club scene was kind of, like, boring, I think the mugging scene will give us a little bit of action.
I don't know. It looks scary. I'm kind of intimidated. Retributive justice. A meathead bullying his unfortunate victim. I probably shouldn't interfere, but what better chance could I find to test what I've become?
Yes.
That was, acting the ellipses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm hearing, oh, gosh, what was her name from the last game?
Sophie,
yeah. I'm just hearing Sophie come through.
I think that's just me.
Test what I've become.
She's much less high-pitched than Sophie, okay? But much less low-pitched than Gwen. I made Gwen very low-pitched.
I do miss Sophie in a weird way.
I can't believe she died. I'm so sad she died.
Well, yeah, it's because the last game was terrible.
No, the ending was terrible.
The ending was terrible. The rest, okay.
The rest of the game was decent.
Fair.
I do like that they mix up the aesthetic. We have the same, blood in the veins Manhattan highways going on here. But it's purple now. Pinkish purple. Whereas before it was, red. So, it's the same but different.
Okay.
Yeah. And I like...
I'm noticing a little bit more of Jersey this time around, too, so...
Oh, are we going to make it over to Jersey?
God, I hope not.
Oh, I thought this alley was in Manhattan. We have been in this alley before, and this very alley was in Manhattan.
Are you having deja vu?
No, I think they just use the same background for Brooklyn as they
I was
did for
trying to
Manhattan.
give them a break here and giving... Okay, fine.
No breaks.
Duncan.
Two men are facing each other in a dark back alley. One of them stands with his back against the wall, his chest heaving as he's struggling to catch his breath.
Oh, God, give them some privacy, damn.
These two men are just trying to have a good time. All right, be a goon.
He looks like he's the aggressor here, but he's like, help. Goon. People, anyone out there? I'm being robbed.
A brawny, rugged guy is yelling at metal staircases with a theatrical incredulity in his voice. With a lively step, he dances around an older man who's having trouble finding his footing.
Yeah, so he's being all pitiful victim. What is this bullshit? Oh, so now you can talk. Good, because I'm dying to hear what you did with my wallet, Holmes. Wallet? I have no idea what you're talking about.
The goon starts prancing around like a Muay Thai boxer. He's smiling, but his eyes send a clear message. You're cornered, buddy. Don't even try to pull a fast one on me.
Come on, homeboy. You may be able to trick your average Joe on the street with your act, but a fighter recognized as a fighter is an animal thing, an instinct thing. I'm an alpha. You got some moves on you. You're like shit. You're like Black Mamba, lightning fast reflexes.
He starts shadowboxing for a moment. The man's definitely got energy to spare.
He's high as shit. However, I'm like a king cobra. You met your match, two apex predators, now locked in battle.
I don't think snakes are apex predators of any ecosystem.
They're not. Oh, so you're seeing snakes. That would explain some things.
Before he's able to finish, a sucker punch knocks air right out of his lungs. The old man slides. Why is she calling him an old man?
Yeah, he looks like a classic, like 30-something hipster.
Mm-hmm. I get that he's older than the 20-something goon, but
old
still.
Man, please.
The old man slides down the wall. Before he can let out a groan, he's interrupted by a brutal kick to the chest.
That's what I'm talking about, a fighting spirit, even when you're cornered. Take a seat, deep breath, collect your thoughts before you speak up again. Remember where you put my wallet now? I'm pretty sure you broke my rib. An eye for an eye, rib for a ribbing, biblical punishment. It's only fair, homie. Fair? I mean, this is a mugging. Wallet my ass. Still in denial. Okay. Let's say I had about $5,000 in there. Give me $6,000. I'll let you walk away relatively unharmed. So you admit it. Admit what? That this is not about proper compensation. This is a robbery. Look, buddy, this is beginning to bore me. Unless you want to go all Anderson Silva on your ass, give me what I want.
I don't know who Anderson Silva is.
Probably some MMA boxer, perhaps, or...
You don't know either?
I have no idea.
I'm not hip with the kids. I
know who Anderson Cooper is, but I don't think he could really whoop anybody in a dark alley.
No. And I know who Pepe Silva is, but No,
that's... Okay, well, you got the first name and the last name of two completely different people, but still have no idea. He doesn't know either. Anderson Silva? Yeah, Anderson Silva. Flying knee meeting your solar plexus. The man, the myth, the legend. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Thai boxing, Western boxing, Taekwondo, Wing Chun, Capoeira, combined with a single fighting style that can only be described as straight-up murder. I've been studying the glorious singularity that is Anderson Silva for years. Every move I have, I owe to him. I wouldn't want this snake to turn into a deadly spider. Show me the money, honey. Summer 2013. Las Vegas. Huh? Watched it live on pay-per-view. Weedman's through all of Silva's tricks, whooped his ass, broke his spirit, showed him for the fraud that he is. Man hasn't been the same ever since. All the empty showboating, hollow taunting, drunk on his own Kool-Aid. Jesus, of course you idolize him, asshole.
For a good minute, the goon silently looks down at the whimpering man at his feet, chewing on his lower lip. When he finally speaks up, his voice betrays an intent to kill.
You know what, homeboy? Screw the money. This is a matter of honor now. My thoughts exactly. Ha!
He raises his fist.
We got ourselves a mixed martial artist expert, huh? Well, for your own sake, I hope you can back that talk with some self-defense skills, homie. I'll call it pathetic.
Yeah, me too.
It really is.
I was just like, what is even going on here? He's pretending to accuse this guy of his wallet to shyster the man into giving him more money.
Yeah, this hipster's walking around in an alley in Brooklyn's going to have $6,000 on him.
Well, you take him but you can't take out more than $500 from an ATM, right?
Can you?
I guess it depends on things, but I'm a sexy vampire, so I'm going to intervene. Boosting your self-esteem by beating up an injured old geezer? God damn, you're pathetic. He jumps at the sound of my voice, turns my way in the blink of an eye, and immediately assumes a combat stance. His reflexes are sharp. Looks like he has at least that much to back up his bravado.
Bragado?
Bragado?
I named bravado and bragado. I didn't know, I know what a braggart is.
I know what bravado is, but what's bragado?
Well, maybe that's sort of a combination of bragging and bravado.
But isn't bravado about bragging?
We're getting off topic.
Well, bragado. I learned a new word tonight.
Did we? I'm not 100% certain.
Wannabe Anderson Silva's face betrays utter confusion upon seeing me. He's got no idea how I managed to sneak up on him. I don't blame him. I wouldn't be able to explain it myself.
Oh, God, you're just as bad as he is. I'm an alpha.
I felt like I became one with the darkness. My pure consciousness traversing a dusky dreamscape, jumping from one shadow to another as if they were different trains of thought.
So is that the shadow bending thing she was talking about?
I guess so, yeah.
Just kind of bouncing from shadow to shadow? That's cool.
It's Lasombra trait. I think of some experiences I've had with psychedelics. Oh. Apparently I've had experiences with psychedelics.
Oh, you just went to a club. Of course you did.
Every blink an adventure. I was outside this alley. Blink. I was above the alley. Blink. Now I'm in front of this guy. And he pisses me off. The older man slumps down. Looks like he was trying his best to keep it together and gave up once the cavalry arrived. Oh, I'm the cavalry now.
I still don't understand why he was egging the guy on. It's like, yeah, you should probably just kill me.
The goon regains his composure and barks at me in an overtly gruff way. Are you gonna bark? That's not overly gruff. That's better.
The hell you sneaking around here for, chica? Move along. This is between men.
Not anymore. His fists turn towards me.
I'm serious and an equal opportunity ass kicker.
I respond to the threat with the brightest, most innocent, virginal smile I can put on.
I don't know what that is. That's neither of those things.
So, you're into shadowboxing, huh? Something comes over me. I can feel the darkness embracing me, whispering sweet nothings in my ear, pumping me up for what's to come. Spring kick seems too much.
No. He probably wouldn't see something coming low, because these guys are all
reverse
upper
elbow
body.
seems too little, crank kick seems too much. I'm gonna do a low spinning. I don't know what a sweep is. Is
It's
it
like you
a
sweep
arm thing?
no, it's like you're
Is it a leg thing?
like a low kick and like knocking them
Okay.
off their feet.
I see. I've always wanted to try this. I zoom in, duck below his fist, and sweep him off his feet with a powerful roundhouse kick. It's probably the dumbest, flashiest thing I could have done. Nuh-uh. They were dumber. But I'm feeling more confident than ever. He flies into the air, only managing not to fall because of the wall behind him. I know what he's thinking. I should have blocked it. And he's absolutely should have. But instead, he just flailed his arms helplessly, as if he suddenly found himself in front of an oncoming train, a primal expression of fear that suddenly and completely took him over. I don't know how I look right now, but judging by his expression, my best guess is like the gaping maw of some primordial beast. I follow up the surprise attack with another punch to the solar plexus, or at least my nearest estimate. Once again, the effect terrifies even myself. You know what? I don't feel terrified.
No, I think she's having a grand old time.
Yeah, I mean...
But I think she is kind of surprised at her own strength, perhaps. She's like, holy crap.
But she seems into it, not terrified. Looks like my hunch was correct, and I hit the right spot. He falls to the floor, whining like a wounded animal, tears streaming down his face.
Strong men also cry.
I let him collect himself a bit, and then grab him by his chin.
Wrench his head off.
Learn to choose your battles, homeboy.
Let me go. Let me go. For Christ's sakes, just let me go.
I kick him in the direction of the alley entrance. He staggers off, quickly disappearing from my sight. I check on his victim. Looks like he's conscious.
Wow. You whooped his ass, girl.
But hasn't noticed anything out of order. Good. I was getting worried I might have overdone it a bit. That woman did say that keeping a low profile will be crucial if I want to survive.
You did go low. You went for the sweep.
You alright? Need help? He manages to stand up. His smile is strange, but it suggests he's fine. Or at least trying his best to seem fine.
Nah. You gave me all the help I needed and then some. Thank you, miss. What's your name?
Jessica.
Jessica? Thanks, Jessica. I was worried for a second, but this asshole's bark was worse than his bite. He's probably in worse shape than me right now. I guess that counts as a victory. I better be going. My wife is probably worried sick, but before that, if there's anything I can do to repay you. Oh, wallet, please. No.
We're to celebrate.
Yeah.
That
sounds like that.
I'm not
sounds
sure
like
what that means, but it seems the most interesting.
Yeah, it seems like a
option.
Jess answer or Julie answer.
I want to celebrate tonight. Where would you go if you were me? What's with my giant cross? Like, am I religious or am I just like a goth? Like,
I think you've always had that on there.
No, I'm wearing like some like bondage suspenders
maybe
now.
It's ironic.
Well, you know what? I personally, as a goth, wear giant crosses because they remind me of tombstones. But Julia was not a goth as a mortal. Did becoming a vampire instantly turn her into a goth that she's now dressing as one?
Well, maybe she could just let her inner goth out, let her freak flag fly.
But she was never like of that persuasion before.
We don't know that. We knew her for like 30 minutes before she became a vampy.
And she's got this like bondage belt now.
Oh, let her live her life or unlife.
I'm just, when did she get the makeover? Did Karen give her the makeover?
Well, maybe like those dark rings around her eyes from being undead and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm making excuses for her. Celebrate, huh?
First thing that comes to your mind. I want to feel alive.
Times Square?
Ew! No! Times Square? Jeez. Get the fuck out of here with that tourist bullshit.
I came here a few weeks ago myself. Still haven't managed to see it, and I always wanted to. In the movies, it always seems so full of life, so...
Not so full of life at this time of night, and not that interesting in general. Although, I think you just helped me come up with an idea.
Glad to hear that. Well, take care, will ya?
You too. Avoid shady spots. Next time, I probably won't be able to bail you out. And there he goes. Avoid shady spots, huh? Glad I no longer have to abide by my own advice. Because I live in the shadows. No more worrying about being out after midnight. No more feeling uneasy whenever I spot a shady asshole across the street. Ever. Hell, I could start jogging in Central Park after midnight now. Not that I need to.
Why, is she like forever fit when you're a vampire?
Yeah, you're just like trapped in your permanent body.
Oh, okay.
The future is looking bright, which is ironic.
Because it's the shadows, yeah. Well, you can't have shadow without light.
Whoa, am I sitting on top of like the Chrysler building? Oh no, I'm in Times Square.
No, you're not that high up.
No, I am in Times Square though.
Yes.
But I'm on like something. Oh no, those are my boots. I thought that was a gargoyle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, but I'm in Times Square looking at the billboard. I have stayed in this hotel.
I don't know, it's kind of a cool
The fact that it's midnight, there would not be this many cars here. These cars would not be here at midnight. This is like a 9 p.m. car crowd. The only thing I can read is in the palm of your hand.
I know, but it looks like it was something for the NYPDs. Maybe it's like they're trying to sell an app or something?
The police.
Or maybe the police are in the palm of your hand?
Maybe. Right. I like that I have like stockings up to my knees and like, okay, I'm just like in super goth attire now. I'm not even wearing a bra. Ugh. Wow. Being a vampire must be great.
Painful, but great.
Wow. What a night. I watched Times Square from above. It's beautiful. I never thought this place could make me emotional, to be honest, but here I am, feeling deeply moved. Who would have thought? That one guy I saved from a beatdown will probably get bored of this place 5 minutes after an obligatory selfie. Although, I guess one's enjoyment of these sights depends a great deal on the perspective. In any case, I'm glad he gave me the idea. Getting up here was surprisingly easy, all things considered. It took more thought than physical effort. Earlier tonight, I started experimenting with this body's limits. I realized I can jump over small buildings and climb steep walls with ease now, and my whole perception of base has shifted. I planned a scenic route across the rooftops. I did my best to avoid attracting attention, just as I was told. Stayed in the shadows as much as humanly possible. But I'm not human.
You're not human.
I'm not human. Human. As much as vampirically possible. I spot a drone from afar. For a second, I feel uneasy, but I remember what she told me. Machines won't get a clear view of me anymore. Camera footage, photos, it's all glitched out or blurry. Oh, it's like vampires not being able to see themselves in mirrors?
Oh, okay. That makes sense. What if it's a mirrorless camera, though?
Oh, cameras are also mirrors. You know, that's also a vampire thing in some lore.
I don't know, these new fancy CMOS sensors.
Wouldn't take it for granted if I didn't try to catch my reflection earlier on. I couldn't see my face clearly. Not in the mirror, not even in a puddle. My face was like one of Dolly's clocks. I think I've been told by our viewers that that's a Lasombra specific vampire trait.
What, the not being able to see your reflection?
Mm-hmm. And other vampires can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I don't remember it coming up before now.
Well, remember when we were playing Bloodlines and we were that Toreador and we are trying to look in the mirror like, haha, we can't see our reflection. And they were like, no, that's just the game.
Yeah.
But really, vampires can unless you're a Lasombra.
Interesting.
Yeah. She told me to keep a low profile regardless. Someone might take note and track you down. She didn't care to elaborate, but it didn't sound encouraging. Suddenly, it hits me that I might never be able to see my own face again. I won't even be able to take care of my looks by myself. And what about the long-term psychological effects? A knot of anxiety tightens in my stomach. Jesus. This is probably just the tip of the iceberg. What else is going to change? Calm down. Wait a second. These past few nights have been the best of my life. For years, I was on a downward spiral. Failing health, no future, a feeling of overwhelming powerlessness. I wonder what my failing health was. Did I have
I don't know.
disease?
She never really mentioned it, but...
Yeah, did I have like an STD or something? Now, everything has been flipped upside down. A total paradigm shift. A bad ending is no longer the only option. I am actually looking forward to tomorrow. I forgot how that feels. Where it used to stand at mere seconds to midnight, the doomsday clock has been effectively turned off. A cold breeze brushes my cheek. As stupid as it sounds, I choose to read it as the world telling me to chin up. I can bend anyone to my will. I am capable of superhuman strength. I am a master of shadows. I can do anything. Tomorrow night, I will be introduced to my duties. If everything goes according to plan, I will be a New York City representative of Clan Lasombra. Whoever they are, whatever that means, I have no idea what to expect. But tonight is tonight. I'm free. All my worries from a month ago feel like they belong to someone else. Finally, things are looking up.
We've got our title.
Title drop! Didn't we already get a title drop at one point?
I don't think so.
I feel like that happened.
Meh. Is this a flashback or is she just crawling back to the burger place again?
I don't know if this is a flash forward or a flashback because I don't know when this game is actually set.
Oh.
I know it came out in 2020, but was made in 2019. So I really don't know whether this is a flashback or a flash forward.
We'll search for context clues.
March 2020. back at it again at Big Beat Burger. Familiar sounds, familiar smells, familiar faces. Yet again, I'm recalling that night when everything finally seemed to change for the better. I mean, it's not like I wasn't expecting everything to go back to the old, depressing normal. Even in the thick of it, the rational part of me recognized my state as temporary. But with these highs, there's always a hope it won't end. Or maybe that an ego death will finally occur. Be satisfied, you stupid fucking bitch. I command you. Here's all the logical evidence for why you should be satisfied. Here's the obvious direction for your life. And here's a detailed explanation of how you should treat the people that care for you. No dice. I always fall back into the same old habits. It's like they were encoded deep in my DNA. The aimlessness, the powerlessness, the spiritual exhaustion. These goddamn fast food trips. Stupid fucking self-loathing. Now amplified whenever I drink somebody's blood. So I guess it's the future.
Right.
So we've skipped time. So last we left, tomorrow she's going to be introduced to the Camarilla, and now we're like forward in time, and she's like an established vampire, I take it. She's wearing the gothic clothes, so I guess this is her like vampire normal. I'm interested why this burger joint has these like fancy booths.
Couches, yeah.
Yeah, like.
I like how she's smoking next to the no smoking sign. That's pretty edgelordy.
Yeah, that's her. That's her, all right. That's our Julia. Maybe I should just blame it all on the misfortune of my birth. You do this social climbing until you disassociate, and then you are just this untethered, constantly frustrated ball of dumb desires. Except I'm sort of immortal right now, and I need to figure out what to do next. I watched this obscure Asian movie once, Ili Lemba Sabanstani, starring Todanobu Asano, one of the coolest guys in the world. He plays this Merzbow-like figure, a legendary noise musician. There's this mysterious virus spreading around the world, causing despair and mass suicides. A rich CEO's granddaughter gets sick and longs to die, so he spends a fortune searching for the cure. Turns out, Asano and his friend, played by this violent onsen geisha guy, are traveling through Japan, searching the corpse-strewn towns and fields for any unique item that can produce beautiful sounds. As it turns out, the avant-garde walls of noise they create are able to heal the infected. The CEO begs the band to help, offering them all the money they want, but for some reason, they refuse. Through a series of flashbacks, concerts, and vignettes, a mystery unfolds. Eventually, we realize that Asano's music is not just a remedy, it's also a cause of the virus. Whenever it connects with people, they get this hunger for more extreme, more novel experiences. And eventually, they hit a wall. Nothing can satisfy them anymore. They lose their will to live. Not even the musicians are spared from this curse. They know the end will come sooner or later. The girl is saved by a mind-blowing concert. But the tragedy is merely postponed, not averted. The last shot of a Jesus-like Asano silently considering his role as savior and destroyer stayed with me. The form of the film is abrasive. Little to no narrative coherence, some weird, cartoonish creative choices, Japanese noise soundtrack, the very free-form and hard-to-understand weave of themes. But at this point, movies like this are all that truly connect with me. I'm the New York City representative of the Lasombra Clan now, also known as the Night Clan, because all vampires are not night.
Yeah, that seems very broad.
Yeah. They are masters of shadows who cast distorted reflections and make modern tech go haywire in their presence. Last year, a few months before I was embraced, the Lasombra had joined with the Camarilla, the biggest and most traditional sect in the vampire world. Okay, so you know the Camarilla had 13 clans or 7 clans plus whatever we knew before. Now Lasombra of recent times are part of the Camarilla, which they never were before, which is why we did not know about them before.
Oh, okay. So now they're camies.
Yeah. So what is sect? That's a new word for me.
Sect. Noun.
A group of vampires tied not by lineage, but by ideology. The two most notable examples are the Anarchs and the Camarilla. Surprisingly, these two are also in the direct opposition and drifting further and further apart at time. Okay, so lineage is your clan, but multiple people can join sects. So Anarchs is one sect, Camarilla is one sect, but there are other sects in addition to that.
Makes sense.
The two groups usually fight each other, but our leaders found some intel that made them reconsider their strategy. So they sent a diplomatic mission to parley with their historical enemies. The deal they got in Chicago was simple. An unlife for an unlife. For every Lasombra vampire allowed in the Ivory Tower, one Lasombra vampire has to meet their ultimate end. Wow, what? The Ivory Tower is the Carmilla. So for every Lasombra that gets to be part of the Carmilla, one Lasombra has to die. So basically they're cutting the clan in half?
Yeah, it sounds like it's sort of like a population culling, or it's like... You know,
what? Why is Lasombra
there can only
getting
be 20 of them at a time.
That's pretty stupid. Another name for the Camarilla. Yeah, that's what I thought. Why do you have to kill Lasombra to accept them in the Camarilla? I don't get why. Were Lasombra like Sabat before? Oh, so because I was made a Camarilla Lasombra, someone else had to die. I think that's what the point here.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
So when my maker made me, when my sire made me, another Lasombra had to die.
So there's only a set number of Lasombra at any given moment?
In the Camarilla.
Okay.
Yeah. I still remember the name of the woman who met her final death so that I could begin my unlife. Her name was Hester Reed, a sworn enemy of the Camarilla, a guerrilla fighter who spent decades opposing them. She was someone with far better principles than mine, from what I've gathered. Well, whoever she was, her execution by my sire served to convince the NYC elites to give us Lasombra a chance. Then, they set out to look for a mutually agreed upon candidate who'd become the clan's rep of the city. My sire searched for someone who gave the impression she was more than she appeared. The local court was looking for someone they could walk all over. After long negotiations, they decided I was a good compromise. They proceeded to systematically destroy my entire life, just to make me show I was psychologically strong enough to join their ranks. The Turncoat Special, they called it. Somehow, I succeeded. And it eventually led me right back to where I started. Sigh. I stopped writing and put my pen down.
She looks familiar. Have we met her before?
She was the assassin, the murderer, the person that was hunting the victim of the thing that we were trying to set free.
Was that in the previous game or this game?
The previous game. She is a vampire killer. She's the person that Camarilla hires to kill vampires they don't like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Will that be all? Says Valerie. Yes, Miss Duval, I hope you enjoyed your stay in London. Oh, I very much doubt I will. Just like every cultured person, I think the only good Englishman is a dead Englishman. At least you're headed there to kill some of the Duskborn you hate so much. I think Duskborn is Nosferatu, right?
Mer?
Pretty sure Duskborn is Nosferatu.
Oh, it's not there yet. Maybe I have to wait for the next screen.
Okay.
There we go.
One of the benefits of being a scourge, if there's one thing this world is never in shortage of, is loathsome runoffs who fortified their right to live. That will be all. Tell Kadir I said hello and farewell. Safe travels. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, psycho. Oh, well. I'm the lone Lasombra in this town, and my representational role means jack shit. No title, no perks, no whatever. Right now, I'm the court's gopher, doing all sorts of work nobody else will touch. My main duties, being a sort of immigration officer. See, New York City is probably the biggest vampire travel hub in the USA, and definitely the biggest one in the East Coast. Almost every kindred arriving from Africa and Europe comes through here. The local Camarilla is nuts about bureaucracy and population control. So every vampire leaving or arriving in this town is supposed to check in with me to inform me about their travels. Well, in theory at least, the VIPs play by different rules. They take care of this stuff through connections and servants. But for the smaller fish, I'm like a vampire Statue of Liberty. The first bloodsucker every kindred coming to NYC should see. On paper, anyway. The first after the prince, or Kadir, the Primogen Council. These things vary. Yeah. I'm naturally traitorous, Lasombra, so they still prefer being traditional and hands-on about these things. Why am I a naturally traitorous Lasombra?
Maybe that's just a trait of Lasombras. Maybe they're just like, no, they're just out for themselves.
So the fact that I'm participating with the Camarilla at all is traitorous?
Perhaps.
As I said, at the end of the day, I'm just a gopher. And this work only serves to remind me I'm not quite in, just standing at the gate. They haven't even given me an office. I just meet everyone in public places, such as coffee shops or this fast food restaurant. Some consider this an insult and lash out at me, but luckily most of them understand we're in the same boat. Only here because we're curs who need to be reminded of our place from time to time. Speaking of, my last client is 15 minutes late, and I still have more errands to run tonight. This is getting irritating. To be honest, I should just find some self-respect and leave. But I won't. My sorry upbringing left me with this stupid sense of responsibility. 10 more minutes pass. Eventually, an unfamiliar woman appears by the door. She tells someone to stand by the door and walks in. She looks like Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Well, at least she's messed up. It is 2020.
Is her waist this tiny?
Yeah, I was looking
or
at
is
that.
it's like something glitching out about like the rest of her body in this area? Like how is her waist like 8 inches around? I don't get it.
Designed by dudes.
Oh, I sound into her, don't I? Long chestnut hair. Body stuck in her late teens by the look of it. A fashionable scarf covering most of her face. Elegant clothes. Dignified walk. I signal to her to sit in front of me, trying my best not to let my impatience show. She obliges. You're here to check in. Julie Sowinski, I presume. She's scanning her surroundings like we're at a circus. I hope you won't mind if I make it quick. I'm needed in Elysium. Name? Catherine Weiss. Huh. I swear I've heard that name before. Someone else's description of her crosses my mind. That weird lady who owns the art hole, but is never there? Remember we went to the art hole?
No.
The art hole.
The art hole.
You remember the art hole?
No. I remember the name, but not the place.
Weird. So it is her. Catherine Weiss, the owner of the Art Hole, de facto headquarters of the New York City Camarilla. Oh, Art Hole is
so that's where
Elysium is.
I got it.
Yeah. Is it Weiss or Weiss? I bet it's Weiss, because you know Weiss and vampires.
Well, I think it's supposed to be like German, like Weiss.
No, in German it would be Weiss.
Oh.
For fuck's sake, Julia, what are you doing calling her weird right off the bat? God knows you've already made a fool of yourself in front of enough VIPs in this civvy. Recover. I'm sorry, it's just that I still don't know that many people here, so I have to go by the descriptions I'm given by members of the Primogen. Well, the descriptions are mostly correct. Outside of that one word that slightly perplexes me, pot calling the kettle black sounds like. Oh, from what I gathered, it's just that your interests are rumored to be, not fully aligned with the Camarillas, and it irks some folks up there. Being a keeper of Elysium is not enough for some, I see. I suspected it as much. But what can you do? She seems chill. Good. Anyway, Catherine Weiss. Wow. Yes. Want me to spell it? People often have trouble getting it right. Forgive my indiscretion. It's just that people of your stature usually don't bother checking in with me. They usually report their arrival to one of the Primogen, and they make all the arrangements. I heard Prince Panhard is busy with the preparations for her big party. I assumed that if I spared her some paperwork, she'd appreciate it as a gesture of goodwill. Besides, I wanted to meet the infamous Lasombra representative out of sheer curiosity. My interest peaked once I heard about her. She looks around knowingly. Unique circumstances. Yes, Prince Helene Penard had trouble justifying the exorbitant rent my property would need. That's literally pennies for her. And as far as I know, she's been sitting on an empty property since last year. Looks like they've got it out for you. But that's what I assumed. But it's nice to get a confirmation. Well, it's not like my clan has ever been particularly popular in these parts. At least that's what I've heard. The sins of the fathers and so on. Yes. Just to make sure, you've never met Hester, but you know of her. I do know I wouldn't be here if not for her. Have you two met? No. I only heard of her once or twice. We had similar outlooks on many issues, although we tended to come up with completely different solutions. In any case, I think it's meaningful that Hester died so that you could live. They feared her. Now they fear you. And that's why they're keeping you down. If anyone who's not a VIP said this to me, I'd laugh in their face. Oh, I get what she's doing. She's trying to buy my favors. Best not to act like I'm easy to please. Stick to business. Time will tell. In the meantime, I'll need you to help me with my documentation. Of course. So, where are you coming from? Washington, D.C.? She says it the way people in Hollywood movies say it. The way that suggests her Washington is widely different from the Washington you and I would see. What were you doing there? Take a guess. Government work? Write that down. It ought to amuse Helene a little bit. If you say so. Date and hour of arrival. She takes out a plane ticket and slides it toward me. It's all here. 1 a.m. Got it. Method of transit. Plane. Purpose of visit. Meeting with Prince at work. Just fine. I guess. Estimated duration of visit. Undefined. Right in 6 months if you really need to. Place of accommodation. Conditions of intended stay. The yacht hold. Conditions should be adequate. You tell me. I tend to be happy with Airbnb. Home sweet home? I'm not certain that I ever felt particularly at home here. That makes 2 of us. Curious. Do you have nothing holding you here? The face of a blonde-haired friend appears in my mind's eye, then vanishes. Intriguing. A blonde-haired friend. There's nothing holding me anywhere. I see. A prolonged silence. She stares into my eyes, and I return the stare. She's studying me, It's unnerving, but I do my best not to turn away. Eventually, she smiles. Didn't you say you were short on time? Oh God, yes. Kadir will kill me! I quickly begin to collect my stuff from underneath the table. You can simply inform him that I paid you a visit. He'll understand. And I'll pass it on to everyone who should be in the know. Sure thing. Good. We will see each other soon, I hope. The party tomorrow night. Wasn't invited. She gives me a pitying look. I understand. Well, if not given the opportunity, we should make our own. I'll be in touch. Good night, Miss Weiss. I wish you a pleasant stay. Good night. And don't rush these things. You've got your whole life ahead of you. And you're in a position where you can take it easy. Take your time. Get a different perspective. I nod and walk slowly out the door. When I lose sight of the restaurant, I sprint toward the subway. Slow night?
I wish. You're late again, by the way. I hope you have a good excuse.
Kadir al-Assami, the mighty sheriff of New York City, is not happy with me. No wonder. I met him in front of Elysium 30 minutes later than the time we had agreed on. Yeah, well, Catherine fucking Weiss decided to arrive fashionably late.
A likely story. She's supposed to be out of the city.
If you think I'm pulling your leg, boss, feel free to check my report. I pass him all of the official papers, the way I do every other night. Kadir stares me down for a good few seconds, then his stealing gaze softens.
You're serious? Weiss in McDonald's with the mask and elegant clothes, surrounded by the smell of French fries and hamburger patties. That must have been one hell of a sight.
Technically, it was BBB, not McDonald's, but yeah. God. I made such a fool of myself. First thing I did, I quoted somebody calling her a weirdo. Wanted to die on the spot.
Serves you right, you walking faux pas. I've been trying to teach you to control your tongue, but you never learn. It's a new gaffe every week with you. Still, there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is Catherine has a fondness for vampires of humble beginnings. Probably why she decided to see you in your, well, shall we say, natural habitat.
She's one of those rich art scene assholes who seek out working class crad.
Did I say something about watching your tongue? The bad news is she's very astute, so she can recognize a moron like you straight away. You never stood a chance at impressing her.
Shut up. You need me for anything here? I'll get on it straight away.
I wouldn't be standing out here chatting with you if I hadn't taken care of my duties. 30 minutes is all it took to finish preparations for the big party. I'm about to see everyone off.
Sorry.
Couldn't be helped, I suppose, and it's more your loss than mine. I just wanted some company tonight, and you could really use the chance to appear here on official duty so everyone can get to know your face. Heaven knows your fast food job isn't going to get you anywhere. You need to, what do they call it? Hustle.
You don't need to tell me that. But it's not like being paraded around for a bunch of blue-blooded douchebags is... He somehow manages to give me a painful nudge in the back without so much as a hint of visible movement.
Language, you fool. Coming out. Just stand here in silence for 5 minutes and focus on not embarrassing yourself any further, will you?
Got it. The first two silhouettes appear in the doorway of the art hall. An old man in a wheelchair pushed forward by his young servant. Haven't seen either of them before.
Mr. Payne, The night is still young. Hope you find the rest of it pleasant.
Payne, the wheelchair. I've heard about him. Addison Payne, one of the American Camarilla's main connections to the government and Wall Street, disabled in quite a few ways, needs a servant to communicate. I'd be full of resentment if I was embraced in this condition, but apparently Payne is nothing but grateful for his immortality. He keeps writing fervent defenses of the traditions and Camarilla customs. Good night, Mr. Payne. He wordlessly shakes Kadir's hand, but doesn't even deign to acknowledge me. Elisa's servant gives me a small bow. I return it. They leave. Kadir turns to the next person leaving.
High Regent, can't wait to see you on your outfit.
Aisling Sternbridge, she was the Tremere High Regent.
Yeah.
Spare me, Sheriff. These fancy dress parties cause me enough suffering without your help. I can only hope that you haven't conspired with Helene to embarrass me with this gift. She points to a shrink-wrapped set of clothes she's carrying inside her coat. Kadir smirks briefly.
I didn't have to. As you well know, Prince Panad displays a considerable foresight in the matter of party planning.
Yes. If there's one thing she's deathly serious about, it's frivolities.
A recognizably mortal quality, especially for a prince. We ought to celebrate it, not oppose it.
Don't worry, Sheriff. I'm a big girl who knows her etiquette. I will play your game, amuse the crowd a little bit, and return to my study as fast as possible.
She resonates with me.
Aisling Sternbridge, High Regent of the Chantry of the Five Boroughs, a hero of the Battle of New York, the biggest warlock in town, could be a prince herself if she didn't have her eyes on a bigger prize. The thing is, nobody knows what that prize is. They only know it has something to do with the goal of her thermatological research. Whoever tried to find out what it is failed violently. I think that's something that happened in the last game because we didn't pursue the Tremere coterie. We don't know what it was. Yeah.
Well. Oh, I'm sure you're going to have fun. Miss Sawinski here has just informed me that Catherine Weiss is back in town. It is safe to assume she will join our festivities.
You're kidding me. It's not safe to assume. It's certain. She told me she will be here tomorrow night. Nice. Excellent. I'd love to catch up with her. The barely concealed venom in her voice clearly suggests that, in fact, she'd hate to catch up with her. Yes, it looks like tomorrow night will be very special. But for now, I bid you adieu. And she's gone. Is there some kind of story between Aisling and Weiss that I should be aware of?
You could say that. High Regent Sturbridge once attempted to call for a blood hunt on Weiss.
Wow. Why?
I've heard 5 different versions of the story, and all of them seem plausible. Catherine's relationship with the city is odd, to say the least, but hush for now.
He's obviously trying to kill the conversation, and the appearance of Tomas Arturo gives him a perfect way out.
Mr. Arturo?
This is the guy that was the endgame big boss.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't know that because we weren't there in the endgame.
Ah, Alice Mike, keep up the good work, eh? Of course.
Thomas Arturo, an architect by trade, he's a herald, a member of Prince Bernard's inner circle, an eccentric whose thoughts seem to be 10 times faster than his words. It's a herald. Why is it not here?
We know what a harpy is.
Is it because I already checked? Okay, I'm gonna just click all these. Where's Harold?
Okay. Maybe it won't show up until the next page.
It's not here.
Go to the next page of the conversation, then it'll appear probably. Which makes no sense. But.
I just want to get rid of these guys. Good night, Mr. Arturo. No, Harold isn't here.
Weird. Okay. Well, that's an oversight.
The one word I actually don't already know.
Ah, yes, yes.
He disappears into the night. Well, that was brief. Maybe I should stand in their way. That might force them to properly acknowledge my existence.
You severely underestimate their dedication to ignoring whelps like you. No.
Not much different than the actual definition, which you already know.
No, by all means, kill the whelp. And just in case you're serious, I beg of you, don't.
I've been meaning to ask you this for a while now, but never had the opportunity. You really hate Arturo's guts, don't you? He carefully measures his diplomatic response.
I have no strong feelings about Thomas Arturo whatsoever.
I wonder if he's upset that he killed Sophie.
Is that common knowledge?
Well, he would know.
I guess so. He knows everything.
Yeah, well, considering you're always listing positives about every local Camarilla representative under the moon, you might as well have called him a cunt.
Language, whelp. And as for Arturo, I will share my opinion about him as soon as I come up with one that sticks for more than a week.
A group of kindred emerges from the art hall, rushing toward the street. Only a noble-looking woman stops next to us. She's wearing a hijab, but curiously enough, doesn't hide her hair beneath it. That is very curious.
Pretty much in.
If you were rude enough to stare, you'd quickly notice the cloth serves mostly to cover up her horrifying scars. Her hair looks hidden to me. Kitia. Oh, and young Julia.
Someone noticed us.
I'm doing my best not to stare because Samira is one of the few NYC Camarilla figures who hasn't been an asshole to me.
Still here. Did the prince require the clan of the Hunt's council in some matter?
Who is the clan of the Hunt?
Is that them?
The Banu Akim, called Assamites in the past, basically, sorry, at this point. Are a new addition to the Camarilla, only having joined a few years ago. Before that, they were independent from both the clan and the Anarchs, and they were used as assassins for hire. Do you remember there was an Assamite in Bloodlines?
No.
Yeah, it was just an assassin for hire.
Wow.
Supposed to be very good at that job too. Nowadays, it looks to me like they've rebranded themselves as keepers of the law, which still gives the occasional chance to hunt somebody down, but no longer a payment in blood, as used to be the tradition, or at least not overtly. The one member of the clan that I know well, Samira, is pretty cagey about the aspect of the Banu Hakim, but I've learned from a few other sources that members of the clan have a bit of a drinking problem. Once they taste another kindred's blood, they find it hard to stop. Their inclusion in the Camarilla seems to have stirred some discontent among the Tremere, and the lawmen also use a form of blood sorcery to boost their abilities and observe different rituals, some of them clearly religiously motivated, owned in no small part to the fact that the clan has been traditionally tied to Islam in the Middle East in general. Yes, I advised her that no matter how hard she tries, she shouldn't expect me to wear a different costume tomorrow night. She's the Banu Hakim Primogen. Just like the Lasombra, their clan was independent from the Camarilla until relatively recently. However, they negotiated a better deal than we did. They have a Primogen, for one. Hailing from the Middle East, the Banu Hakim are drawn to the practice of justice. The rules must be upheld and every transgression punished. They don't have much say in NYC, but the prince often seeks their judgment. It's just good PR.
I trust she was understanding. Those are beautiful clothes.
Thank you so much. I'm eager to see the outfit you come up with. And how are you, Julia? Have you seen any lights at the end of the tunnel? They haven't even invited me to the party tomorrow. Sorry to hear that. I trust you're pestering the prince and your superiors to improve your standing. It's a process. Oh, Julia. You won't achieve anything if you don't keep reaching for it. Kadir, weren't you supposed to teach her the ropes?
I'm trying to, Primogen, but with this child, it's always a process.
I can only wish you good luck, then. Good night, Julia. Good night, dear. Good night.
Have a safe trip.
The art hole has to be almost empty by now. You like her, don't you?
Stop with your class clown act, whelp. It only serves to reveal deep insecurities.
Wow, that's harsh.
It's factual. Why as harsh as you claim?
She did tell us both to call her Samira, but you still keeping your distance with that primogen shit.
What's your profanity? And don't project your fantasies on me. I won't give you a lesson about professional boundaries, but I suspect the way that you will eventually learn it will be extremely unpleasant. Am I interrupting something good, folks?
Even though I'm constantly pestering, Kadir's composure is unshaken. His response comes swift and unfazed.
Not at all, Mr. Van der Weyden. Heading back to your office. You know me, my dear sheriff. Where else would I go?
Now that's curious. Even though Carter Van der Weyden is Primogen as well, Malkavian to be precise, I don't hear Kadir address him as such.
Hope to see you tomorrow night. Oh, I will absolutely show up. Provided I can. But just in case, I already apologize for not making it to the print. Simply drowning at work these days.
The rhythms, tempo, and intonation patterns of his voice are so familiar. Half of it sounds like JFK, the other half exactly like Barack Obama. Just like his appearance, it all feels so fake. All right, you have a new voice command. I'm going to do a little like Bear Quimby here. He's old money, of course. Comes from a long line of Dutch merchants who originally settled in the New York region, runs a wildly successful law office, rubs elbows with elites of both kindred and kind varieties alike. He seems perfect in every way, and that's why he's so unnerving. He's a child of Malkov and must be blighted with some affliction, but whatever it is, he doesn't let it show. Hard not to wonder what he's hiding.
The celebrations are planned to last all week. Surely you will find the time. I pray I will, my good men. I pray I will. In case you need to reach me, you know where to find me. Have a good one.
He doesn't even register my presence before leaving. Sometimes I think they're all still hoping I'll simply go away. As Carter drives away in his limousine, Kadir shakes his head.
You wanted to hear about which member of the New York City Camarilla I dislike the most?
Yes. He shoots me a knowing glance and smirks.
Too bad. They're all my dear colleagues, and I deeply respect every single one of them.
Sure you do. Wouldn't want to blurt out something that could lock you out of Mr. Van der Weyden's legal services, would you? You ask, yes, sir?
I do expect to find myself in need of a good defense attorney when my broke, incompetent, and foul-mouthed assistant finally pushes me over the edge.
Rude! Do you still need me here? I still need to swing by St. Patrick's night.
Don't worry, we're almost done. The prince is coming out.
The captain is the last person to leave the ship, huh? And there she is, Helene Pinard, the big kahuna, as someone I once knew would call her, the de facto ruler of New York City and self-possessed patron of the arts. Kadir, a penny for your thoughts.
You should be pleased to hear the High Regent is resigned to her fate, my prince. Mr. Van der Weyden is decidedly not. I suspect he will be too busy to join the festivities all the week through.
Excellent. She turns to me. Miss Lewinsky, weren't you supposed to accompany our good sheriff on his duties tonight?
There was an unexpected change of plans. Catherine Weiss is back in the city.
Catherine is here. Now that is a welcome surprise. But what does that have to do with you, Miss Lewinsky? She said she doesn't want to trouble you with all the paperwork regarding her rival, Prince Bernard. It's all been taken care of. Kadir has already been informed of everything. That is certainly a nice gesture, but wait a minute now. Where exactly did you meet her?
In a fast food restaurant, my prince.
I see. Helene rubs her eyes. Kathleen and her love for Portalian amusement. I suppose it will be a source of amusing anecdotes this week.
If we want to avoid these situations in the future, it might be a good time to discuss offering Miss Sawinski an office of her own.
Well, we'll get to it eventually. There are more pressing matters at hand. The festivities start tomorrow, and there's still so much to be done. Will you make sure the art hall is secure before leaving?
Certainly, my prince. Have a good night.
Good night, Katia. Good night, Miss Sovinsky. We'll talk about your work soon. Don't worry. Of course. Good night, Prince Bernard. A chauffeur escorts her to a limo. There's an awkward silence between me and Kadir until the car disappears around the corner. More pressing matters, huh? A penny for your thoughts, Sheriff?
I'm certain an image of a keeper of the Elysium stuck in a fast food restaurant will linger in the Prince Penard's mind. You're far closer to your goal than you were a few minutes ago.
I'm pretty sure I heard you say something to that effect a few times now.
And I stand by my words. Rome wasn't built in a day, Julia.
As a Camarilla loyalist, don't you think it sucks that the Ivory Tower is so hell-bent on showing disrespect to my clan? They're actually willing to make fools of themselves in the process?
We've all had to endure our own hazing rituals, but yes, the current situation is not ideal.
Whatever. You need a hand closing up the Elysium?
I'll manage. It's getting late. Better run. Some shadow in Chicago is probably impatient to get a copy of the report you've given me. You've pleased one master, now it's time to please the other.
Yeah. Here's the thing about working for two masters. Neither of them really thinks of you as their own. Not knowing how to reply, Kadir shrugs. I waved him goodbye and head for the subway. Well.
Yeah. This is the longest night ever.
Wow, my goodness. Well, you know, we've been through some stuff. We did a time jump to the future, March 2020. We're now the Lasombra liaison of the city. The one Lasombra who's like in with the camis.
You're like the closest thing to a primogen you can be without being a primogen.
Basically, and I was just like abducted out of nowhere because they headhunted me and decided I was the best man for the job. Well, that's good to know. It's nice that Kadir's back. I like that Kadir's back.
Yeah, it's good to see some familiar faces.
And Sophie, I get to do the French accent.
And a lot of accents on this
the
one.
creepy murder lady, she was good to see, though I don't think she's probably going to be much more in this than she was before.
I really do hope we get our own office, though.
Yeah, that would be nice, you know, moving up in the world.
It's kind of this church reminds me of that like club in Bloodlines.
Yeah.
With the red light and stuff.
Though I'm wondering why we're going to St. Patrick's. Like, nothing has been established for why I would go here. It's just like, time jump, here's stuff.
When I just like, no, this is my new life. This is my rigmarole.
And yet I'm holding all my office hours at the burger joint.
I know. You could go literally anywhere.
I could go to a Starbucks. That would be so much better.
Or you can,
if I was
you can go to this
just at a
cathedral.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you could go into the atrium in the Trump Tower. That sounds vampire-y to me.
Well, not if you want to impress somebody.
It's a nice atrium. It has birds.
Yeah, I know, but it says Trump on the front, and that's terrible.
But I feel like vampires are evil like that.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, what's new in vampire news this week? There's been some more casting for the Anne Rice vampire TV show. We now have an actor who's playing Claudia. The uproar is that it is a 17-year-old actor. You know, Claudia was 5 years old in the book.
Oh, that's Claudia.
Yeah, Claudia was Kirsten Dunst in the movie, who is 12 playing 9, but still a kid. But when you have a 17-year-old, like, she's gonna look like an adult.
I know, I was about to say, it's like, well, I mean, of course she would have grown up in between the move. Oh.
So this makes me think that maybe they're changing the story, and now Claudia is not a perpetual child, and therefore angry about being a child, and therefore going to kill Lestat and drive the whole drama of the show. And it makes me think there's going to be a different drama of the show, and Claudia's just going to be, like, there.
Now it's just going to be more angsty.
I don't know, maybe I picture she's going to be exactly like Jessica in True Blood. Remember Jessica in True Blood, the angsty teenage vampire daughter? Yeah, that's what I'm picturing. They've also cast the actor for Louis' sister, who is a first-time actor. It's her first role in anything on screen. So good for her. These are all black actors, which is cool. You know, the only white actor they've cast so far is the actor for Lestat, Sam Reed. So, you know, we're going to get a very diverse show. I'm looking forward to it. They're changing everything about it. It makes me think of, you remember that Dracula TV show where Dracula was John Rhys Davies and he was John Rhys Meyers? I forget which John Rhys
I was going to say, that'd be a very different show.
No, John Rhys Meyers, not John Rhys Davies. And he was just like, too sexy for his shirt, and he invents an electricity. He was basically if Tesla was Dracula.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that show. I get the feeling that this is going in that direction of like, we're just going to completely reinvent it and like put a whole new story on it. And as we're just taking these characters and we're just going to do new things.
I'm just thinking of John Rhys Davies as Dracula. And I think
that would be awesome.
It would work. Yeah.
It would work. I would watch it. I feel like I would like that so much better than John
it would
Rhys
have to be like a
Meyers.
20 years ago John Rhys Davies, but...
No, Dracula's old. Let him do it now. He's got the voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
our portly little Dracula.
Love it.
Roly-poly bloodsucker.
I think this is the longest Let's Play we've ever done.
Indeed.
It just never ended. So yeah, we probably should have ended before we got to Kadir, but you know. Bonus for you. You're welcome. Happy October. Spooky season. Halloween's coming up. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you're having fun. If you are going to the Anne Rice Vampire Lestat Fan Club Vampire Ball in New Orleans this Halloween, I will be there, and you should come say hi to me, and we should hang out at the Vampire Ball. I will be there.
I cannot take you to the pumpkin ball.
But I'm going to the Vampire Ball myself.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Just in case the pumpkin ball comes around, I can't take you to that.
Yeah, no one can take anyone to the Pumpkin Ball. If you get the reference, say Cthulhu in the comments, and then we'll know.
Don't worry, I'm sure this reference will awaken something in you.
Oh my god. Anyway, good night, everybody.
Peace.
What did you say?
Peace.
Peace?
Peace. Deuces. Peace.
It's not very vampire-y.
No. No. Sorry. I have no defense. 50 lashes with a wet noodle.